welcome back to Movie Reviews. This episode I'm looking at Mystery Men from 1999. A rare cast, a nice different break. Well, actually, a superhero comedy. It's directed by a guy called King Kuroshia, who only directed this movie. And obviously, well, he mainly directed commercials, but this is his only directorial role of a film, or like making a film or something, and this is the only thing that he's done. Obviously, the interesting thing about this movie, let's go into the different layers. Okay, so let's begin with the cast. So we've got Ben Stiller, we've got Paul Rubens, we have got Hank Azaria, we have William H. Macy, we've got Tom Waits, we've got Jeffrey Rushton, if I can remember, if that is his name. You've got Eddie Izzard as well. Though I'll get more on what the cast as well. So that's an interesting cast. Now the interesting thing about Mystery Men, it's actually based on a comic. It's based on an unknown comic book called, was it Flaming Carrot? Flaming Carrot. Yeah, Flaming Carrot. It's based on the comics. However, because it's never explained, and also the character itself, Flaming Carrot, doesn't appear in this film whatsoever. You can't really call it an adaptation, although there are some characters that are sort of adapted from the comics into the film. However, the leader itself doesn't really appear, in whatsoever. Anyway, yeah. So it's sort of like it's basically its own standalone film, very much. And it's to do with wannabe superheroes. Like, people have like different powers. They have like sort of like different styles, different costumes and stuff like that. Because you got Ben Stiller, who is his hero's name's called Mr. Furious, where his real name's Roy. He works at a junkyard, but his superhero alter ego is basically wear leather stuff. He uses his fist and gets angry. Like, he tends to have rage. However, he doesn't prove he hasn't got enough rage to be like the Incredible Hulk or something. I think he's trying to, when he gets angry, he tries to be more stronger and more, it's all the adrenaline and stuff. You have William H. Macy, who is I can't remember his name now, the actor's name, but his alter ego is the Shoveler, and he works in like a sewage or something like a shoveler or construction worker. He dresses like a miner, he does, and he just goes and shoves the shoveler, Hank Azaria, who plays a guy called Jeffrey, who is a wedding clothes store owner in a department store. Yeah, and there's his mother as well, and he plays the Blue Raja. How interesting enough, he doesn't wear any blue. His costume doesn't wear blue. He's just called the Blue Raja, and his power is obviously flinging fancy cutlery all over the place. So that's his sort of power. It's like a ninja type style. If you mean if you feel like sharp steel stars and stuff. Yeah, you got Paul Rubens as well, and obviously called the Spleen, and he's sort of like this grotesque type person, and he has like farting powers. I mean, like some deadly farts. Fair enough. Then you got the baller girl. I can't remember the name. Was it Karen? Also, I can't remember the actress's name, but it's Karen, and then she's called known as the baller. She's one of the new recruits actually to the Mystery Men. She obviously is a baller. She has this crystal ball with a dead skull in, obviously, and gets revenge on one of the main enemies, of course, which they face in the movie. And it's basically and she uses like a boomerang, very much like her ball and ball's like a boomerang. She flings it and it comes back to her and stuff like that. It's very interesting. And we have, was it Keenan, his name is, and he plays the Invisible Boy. Interesting enough, that's our power of invisibility is quite different from what we used to. He just can't go invisible just like that. I mean, he has to become invisible so people aren't looking at him to see him turn invisible. Like, if people have to turn their backs to him, he'll just turn invisible and just all his clothes gets removed and he just walks around and do for a bit, which is interesting. Who else there? I think that's about it. There's about 6 of them there is, yeah. Also, Tom Waits as well. He plays he's sort of the, I would say, I guess, the mad scientist, the sort of helper behind the scenes, that sort of thing. Like, they're like Alfred Pennyworth, um, and other stuff like this. It's people with the gadgets and the whereabouts of the villains. Of course, he plays. It's interesting though. Like you have the great singer songwriter Tom Waits in a movie. Oh, interesting. And then we got was it Jeffrey Rush who plays Dr. Frankenstein, who is the main villain. Of course, he gets taken again out of prison and then tries to take over the role again, uses some kind of like obscure defray. Eddie Izzard, he plays, was it? I can't remember the name. Well, the character's name. Tony. Was it Tony something? And was it? He's had a gang called the Disco Boys or something. Dressed in 70s clothes, loves the Bee Gees, the Tramps, all that sort of stuff. Just dancing knife. It was all 70s glam disco stuff there, likes and platform boots. And obviously the problem is with Izzard's performance in this is he sort of falls back a bit, and it doesn't really do much. Like, he's only got the script to read and that's it. It doesn't give any more to reach off his character. It gives it more breadth and more dynamic, if you know what I mean. And finally, I think, or two part finally actually, we have Greg Kinnear who plays was it Captain Amazing? He's basically sort of like equivalent to Superman. However, obviously, when he saves Champion City, he sort of like becomes more. Well, his ego takes over him. It's like a douchebag Superman, very much, and basically, he wants to get more because he saved all the villains. There's nothing else, and it's like crime free. So he brings out Dr. Frankenstein using his billionaire alter ego known as Lance Hunt, and he gets killed in the movie, which is a bit of a spoiler, but I'll say it anyway. He's killed in the movie. I mean, this one's nearly about 18 years old, so why not? And anybody else? Oh yeah, the actress who plays I think was it Monica? He's sort of the love interest with Ben Stiller's character in the movie. Not much there, I would say. I mean, the sort of relationship between them two is not really, doesn't really do much. So anyway, the film itself, I mean, the costumes themselves are quite nice. And I also forgot the Sphinx as well. The sort of mystic leader, also the mysterious guy who actually has like telekinesis and he can split weapons in half. Why not with his mind? And then obviously the story itself is quite, it sort of goes by numbers, if you know what I mean. Like, I think I mentioned the story before. I mean, Captain Amazing, obviously, he gets kidnapped by Dr. Frankenstein, who Captain Amazing's alter ego, Lance Hunt, gets him out of jail, out of the asylum, and then he takes over the world using something like matter death ray or something. I don't know what it's called now, but he sort of uses that. He gets Tony B and Disco Boys and stuff, become his henchmen, sort of form a league, and basically that's about it. Really, that's how the story goes. But overall, it's not bad. I mean, the film itself is really good, actually. I mean, I do enjoy it. It's sort of forgotten, really, but once you go and watch it, it's sort of like a cult movie. It's basically a cult movie now. It's got a cult following. People tend to love it. It never spawned a franchise, though, which is kind of interesting. No sequels were planned for this movie. It just came and went, and it didn't do well at the box office. So I think that was one reason why. However, it might be interesting to see a sequel of what, if Mystery Man 2, that'd be quite interesting, or something to do with Flaming Carrot. Who knows? Also, the music itself. Obviously, we have some brilliant score. I can't remember the name of the composer now, who is British. He then takes over, and then Shirley Walker actually does I think provides a few bit of music scores. Shirley Walker actually helped with the Batman animated series in 1992. Obviously, and then she's worked on a few Batman-related projects as well. Sort of Elfman type style, which sort of helps actually, and yeah, and obviously it features a couple of pop music, and like I mentioned before, with Eddie Izzard's character, he's into 70s disco. Some stuff like the Tramps and Bee Gees are included, and the song Rockstar, which people remember from the 2001 movie Shrek. It appears in the opening, and people tend to love that song. However, it first played in this movie, which I mean, it's okay song, but I don't listen to it whatsoever. I find it a bit too unbearable. I don't know. It's been played a lot, and it's sort of like it's like other stuff. You mean like some other songs which are fixed onto a movie. I found a bit too not good to listen to. Yeah, indeed. Anyway, and obviously the style of this movie, it's got a bit of like stuff like with Batman, of course, Tim Burton's Batman. You got stuff with a little bit like Blade Runner in there as well. Like the world of Champion City is called mixed and interesting. Gothic, it's got like futuristic stuff, bit of interesting architecture, and like from the 40s and 50s, and that's sort of like overshots that sort of reminds you of Gotham City slightly, and I thought it was quite interesting, quite good. So, Mystery Men, is it worth a watch? Probably, yeah, because when I first watched it, I thought, this is actually quite good, this is. I mean, it's an interesting superhero flick, obviously, because it's deal with ordinary people who have, well, some ordinary people have have superpowers and some don't. And this is where crazy costumes and have different names and basically form a group and just defeat one of the main villains is just trying to destroy the city, their own city. And yeah, not a bad concept. Concept. I mean, there's some other films like was it James Gunn's Super. That's another one that is. I mean, you have was it Orgasmo? You've got Blank Man. Oh yeah. There's a few films like that and that are sort of worth a watch. I mean, and of course, yeah. So that is the review of Mystery Men from 1999, and I will see you for the next review / video.